What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Gobbler Effect, Season 3, Episode 4 here on the Virginia Tech Hockey Network. My name is Chris Pierce, joined once again by my co-host and Virginia Tech men's hockey head coach Joey Mullen, as well as special guest, keeping the trend going on strong for the third week in a row. Another Hokies freshman joining the show, this time on the defensive end, Murphy MacLeod. Murphy, how are you doing? Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. So a little bit of a bumpy week we had last week. We'll get into that first before we get into this week ahead against UNC. Let's kind of take a step back last weekend and really dive into those two home games against Tennessee on Friday night and North Carolina on Saturday. If we're gonna take the good, then we'll take the bad. We'll start on Friday night with Tennessee. You guys came out with a 6-2 win. Coach, I'm gonna start with you. What did you see out of the team that you really liked?
I thought it was a pretty good 60-minute effort. Really not much let up there. We stayed out of the penalty box, stayed out of trouble, and really just kind of wore them out and put the game away in the third period. Played the game we should play.
You guys, kind of a little bit of slow start against Tennessee, but then you really picked it up in those last, back half of the game. What was said to the team, or what were the guys talking about in the locker room, during that time or on the bench to, really get the guys fired up and really attacking the puck in the net?
I don't think there was any like panic or anything like that. It was more just keep doing what we're doing. We were getting plenty of shots. We outshot them pretty good. Um, and just really try to push the pace. They were a big team. They wanted to try to be physical and kind of muck it up with us. And felt like if we stayed out of that, that would play well for us. And it's kind of how it turned out.
Yeah. Murph, this was your first game as a Hokie, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How was that experience for you?
It was super fun, like throwing on like just like a brand new jersey for the first time, just being able to go out there and fly around. So yeah, I was super excited to play, and it was a good game to get us started because we won the game by like a good amount, but good type of game to get like the legs going.
And I've asked, the other guys who were the rookies who were on the show, the previous 2 weeks, but what was it like to adjust, to the college level of hockey compared to, skating in high school or, in travel?
Yeah. So it's definitely like fast paced and big. Like the guys are older. Like I'm used to playing like with like some older guys because I at least played like a season of juniors before coming here. Um, but like overall, it definitely was pretty fast paced. But like it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, first game you faced a Tennessee team, former AAU champs, came in the game a lot of offensive firepower, but you guys only limited them to 2 goals. Talk about, your defensive strategy, and your line mates and what was going on during the game to really prevent that Tennessee offense from coming out strong.
I feel like we were doing a good job like keeping them to the outside. Like they were getting shots on net. That was kind of their game plan. But most of their shots were like from way far outside and like weren't really like too threatening. So like for the most part, we were just trying to like keep them out of like the dangerous areas, and I think it was working because like they weren't really getting too many like grade A scoring opportunities.
And obviously, as the game went on, you started to feel more comfortable in your skate. What is it like playing, behind such a great offensive, potential line of, you got the Paduzzi, Kazai, Garlock, Tulo, all of them, just producing. What is it like, playing behind that?
It's nice playing with those like especially like those top lines because you're in the offensive zone a lot and like as like a defenseman like I'll get the puck on the point and it's like awesome. They'll look for us on the point. They'll find us when we're open. So like playing with them, it's awesome getting the puck up at the point. Other than that, they just make life easier on us. They're like the back checking's great from our forwards. So
Yeah, and coach, you mentioned this was your deepest roster that you think you've ever had. How did that really come into play Friday night against Tennessee?
I mean, we were able to roll different guys out at different times. Like I think Jacob Watchell, that was his first game. It was Murphy's first game. Um, just trying to get different combos out there, different looks to see how we're gonna end up going forward the rest of the year. It's nice to not have to worry about like we don't have anybody that I have to worry about when I throw them into a game. So it makes my job easier putting lineups together.
Yeah, and obviously, you got the win, but you had to look ahead to Saturday. What was, said in between those two games that, tried to carry that momentum from Friday's win into Saturday?
I mean, everybody knew who we were playing Saturday. I mean, that one's kind of marked on the schedule every year. Pretty good rival. A little different scenario this year with them being a D1 team. So we knew they'd be bigger. We knew they'd be faster. They were ready. Um, it was a battle.
Yeah. So let's kind of now dive and get into Saturday's matchup with North Carolina State. Again, it's been a rivalry as you mentioned for the I can't tell you how many seasons since I've at least been with the Hokies. I mean, it's just a back and forth physical battle every single time these two square up. But you only play them one time, and that was last Saturday. Unfortunately, North Carolina State did get the win 5-1, and there was a lot going on obviously in that game. You talk about the penalties. You know, the I mean, you can just go on and on about, the discipline of the Hokies and the ice pack. You had those three power play goals in the first period, and that kind of set the tone of how you guys would be playing from behind the rest of the way. So, Coach, I'm going to start with you on Saturday's game. What were your overall thoughts about, how you guys played? Obviously, not the way you wanted to play, but what were your overall thoughts?
Uh, I don't think we played a bad game. I don't think 5-1 is like a true reflection of that game. I thought we skated with them pretty well. I mean, they're a big, deep, skilled team, and they move the puck well. I got a good goalie. I thought we could have probably done a better job of getting a little more net front traffic, creating a little more chaos for their goalie. We got a lot of shots, which was good. The power play was a little rough. So credit to their penalty kill for keeping us scoreless there. Our PK wasn't stellar, but they did a good job of popping three early power play goals, and that's a big difference in the game. When you're chasing a game, you start doing things you're not normally doing. Get caught out of position a little bit. They made us pay when we made a mistake, and when they made one, we just didn't get it. I thought they scored that early power play goal. We came right back and answered, which was nice. Questionable 5 minute major, 10 minutes into the game kind of changes the whole game a little bit. But you can't blame it on that. Like we didn't capitalize on the chances we had. I mean, we had 9 power plays and didn't score a goal, so that's on us. So stuff to work on this week. I was proud of the guys. They never quit playing. They played hard the whole game, and they skated with a really good team. I thought 5-on-5 we matched up pretty well with them. I mean, 5-on-5 it's a 2-1 game, so clean up the penalties and stuff like that. It's a way better looking score than what it actually was.
And Murph, obviously now that being your second game, you were on the ice for that. What was, your experience with it all against NC State?
Definitely like a step up from Tennessee, a lot faster, a lot bigger. They were really on us, like in the corners, just forechecking us really hard, us defensemen. Um, Overall though, like he said, like Coach said, like 5-on-5, we actually did a pretty solid job keeping them away from our net, getting the pucks out, getting them on net. But just special teams, we were really struggling as a team. So
If you guys could, play them again, down the line, which we all know it's not gonna happen, but if you guys had another opportunity to, go against them, what would you do differently, would you say, and, trying to beat them?
I think Coach put it really well with the getting guys in front of the net, making it harder on their goalie. He's obviously a great player. And then also just continue working on like power play entries and just like picking the right shots when we have power plays and we're in their zone, just shot selection. And then also just PKs because they have a great power play. So we just got to work on PKs a lot.
Yeah, well, again, this is just a little roadblock, an obstacle you guys got to get around, to there's a whole rest of the season ahead. But think about it, last year you guys played NC State and you lost, and then you went on a 13 game winning streak. So now flash forward to this year, you lost to NC State, your first loss of the season. What is going to be said, in that locker room to the guys, carry, what you can into the rest of the season?
I think a big thing we kind of took into practice last night and tomorrow is like the focus and intensity and practicing with a purpose more than just kind of going through it to go through it. I think we had a lot of opportunities in Saturday night's game that looked like we weren't prepared for, I guess. And then a lot of their chances, like the 3-on-2 rushes and stuff like that, you could tell that they were polished with it, knew what they were going to do before it happened. And I think it was a good learning example of that game for us to show us where we could make some improvements. There's a lot of stuff that they did really well that I think we have the guys that could incorporate some of that stuff. So we're going to try using some stuff like that. It's just more of let's get refocused. Hey, long season, but kind of short in the same aspect. So let's wake up, put that one behind us, and get ready for UNC.
Murphy, would you say the same thing about that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just refocus on next weekend. Just don't worry too much about the 5-1 loss. Just look ahead.
Oh, let us now look ahead to this weekend. Trying to segue that. Let's now look ahead to this weekend. You got UNC coming into town for 2 nights on Friday and Saturday. UNC, a team you guys are obviously familiar with. You played them twice last season, including the outdoor game, which you won 6-0, probably the best win in program history. Coach, I'm gonna start with you. You obviously, scouted them. You have history against them. You know what they're capable of. What are you expecting from the team this weekend?
I think it'll be pretty similar to what we saw in NC State. They're gonna be a big team, fast team, want to play physical, really deep at forward. Got some good defensemen, good goalies. If we come out and start the game on time and play our game, I think we'll have success. Thought we had a really good practice on Monday. I think it'll flow in really nice to Wednesday. Really hone in on that power play and penalty kill stuff Wednesday at practice and come ready Friday. We show up and play. I think it'll be a really good 2 games.
Yeah, obviously the marquee, matchups are obviously UNC's first line versus your first line, but you've been mentioning the depth of your team has had. What is it going to take, for those second and third and fourth lines, as well as, the defense to really, get the Hokies in gear to defeat the Tar Heels?
I just think we keep doing what we're doing. I mean, I haven't been disappointed at all in any of the efforts. I mean, go back to the first 2 Liberty games, down late in both those games, come back to find a way to win one and tie one. Tennessee, same thing. I mean, slow start, but we just keep going and getting better. I mean, if you can get better as the game goes on every night, like you're going to be in a good spot every weekend. So try not to dig ourselves a hole this game and just keep our foot on the pedal the whole night.
Murph, obviously your first time facing North Carolina, but as coach said, they're very similar to how NC State plays, and now knowing, that level of what it's going to take to, overcome the Tar Heels, what are your expectations for this weekend?
I mean, just good teams like NC State and like UNC will be a good team this weekend. They just expose your mistakes that much more than a team like Tennessee. So you just gotta be careful of where we put pucks, just making the smart plays. And like you make the smart plays all game, like good things will tend to happen.
Yeah. And last question for the episode, and this goes for, both of you from a, a coach's standpoint and a player standpoint. Obviously, we saw, how the game could get physical, emotional, all mental, all those aspects for, the individual player or coach. How is that going to translate this weekend, coming off a really heated NC State battle now to playing, another team who, you guys are very familiar with and, can get to that same level of intensity with UNC coming up?
I mean, I think UNC is a pretty good rival, but I don't think it's got quite the intensity that NC State does. So I don't know if there's going to be an emotional issue or trying to do too much type of issue. I'm sure for them, this is one they've kind of marked on their calendar since we swept them last year, and they don't want to get swept or they don't want to lose anymore. So they'll be fired up. They'll be ready, something to prove. We just got to come in and get ready. I mean, 2 more D1 games. We kind of challenged ourselves the front end of this schedule with some really hard competition to set us up for the back end. So we're just looking for really 2 solid 60-minute games, and hopefully we come out on top in both.
Yeah. You want to add anything, Murph, to that as a player?
As a player, just these games against good teams are just like just a way to just get experience against the better competition, get ready for like what it's gonna feel like later in the season when we're getting closer to like regionals. So it's just like as a player, just showing up and just competing all game because like there's only so many opportunities to play these like top teams.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens this weekend. That'll do it for episode number 4 of the Gobbler Effect here on the Virginia Tech Hockey Network. Thank you all for watching and tuning in all season long. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe on the channel here, as well as click the notification bell for live stream and content updates this season. Coach Mullen, Murph, thank you both for joining us. The Hokies will return home this weekend as they welcome the North Carolina Tar Heels to the lot both Friday and Saturday night. You can catch Friday's game right here starting at 7:30, followed by Saturday's start at 6:30, all right here on Virginia Tech Hockey Network. Until next time, go Hokies.